All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore a really profound spiritual paradox, one that kind of flips our whole idea of learning and progress completely on its head. I know, it sounds totally backward, right? We spend our entire lives trying to accumulate knowledge, thinking that the more we know, the closer we get to understanding. But what if the opposite is true? What if all the stuff we think we know is actually the very thing weighing us down? This idea of unlearning it's fascinating. I mean, take Buddha. Here's a prince who had the best education money could buy. And what does he do? He spends 6 years in extreme austerity, not to learn more, but to basically dismantle everything he was taught. Or look at Mahavira, a master of the scriptures who spent 12 years in total silence, just trying to forget the words he knew so well, so he could finally hear the truth behind them. So their goal wasn't to collect more information, it was to purify their minds. They needed to become what's called a kora kagas, a blank page. Think about it. Only when a page is totally empty can the truth be written on it clearly. If there are already a bunch of scribbles and notes, the new message is just going to get distorted. Okay, so this brings us to two completely different ways of looking for truth. And the source material has this beautiful way of illustrating it as two very distinct paths you could take. And this is where we really see the contrast. On one side, you have the Rajpath, the royal road. Imagine a massive, paved superhighway built by scholars. It's safe, it's structured, and it's jam-packed with millions of people. But then, on the other side, you have the pagdandiyan, which is just a simple footpath. It's solitary, it winds through nature, it's unpaved, it's raw, and that is the path of the mystics. Now, here's the kicker. The mystic on that quiet little footpath, they have a huge advantage. See, the scholar on the highway thinks they know the way. They think the map they're holding is the territory. But the mystic, they start from the most powerful place of all, admitting they know nothing. The moment you can honestly say, I don't know, that's when the real search can actually begin. But okay, this raises a pretty obvious question, right? If you see someone who's walked the path and they've reached the destination, why can't you just copy them? Why not just follow their footsteps exactly? Well, it turns out there's a huge trap hidden in just trying to imitate someone else. The mystic Jagjivan gives this just startling warning. He basically says, hey, don't imitate me. Don't copy my actions. And that just seems so weird, doesn't it? If his actions led to enlightenment, why shouldn't we do them too? Well, because, as he explains, simple imitation is a dead end. To really get this, we have to see the difference between what's happening on the inside versus what people see on the outside. There's the enta, which is the deep inner transformation happening in your consciousness. Let's call that the roots of a tree. And then you've got the acharan, the outer actions and behaviors. Those are just the flowers on the tree. And the difference is like a real flower versus a paper one. I mean, it's crystal clear. A real flower grows because the roots are healthy. It's alive, it has a fragrance, it's a genuine expression of an inner reality. Now you can go ahead and stick a paper flower on a branch. It might look the part from a distance, but it's just a lifeless copy with no essence. Copying a mystic's outer actions is like decorating a dead tree with paper flowers. The real work is always in the roots. So this idea of focusing on the inner world, it leads to an even deeper, more powerful insight about what we all spend our lives trying to fix. This is the default setting for most of us, isn't it? We believe our external problems are what make us miserable. If I just had more money, or if this relationship was better, or if my health improved, then I'd be happy. We think our problems are the cause. But the source material just flips this whole idea on its head. It asks us to consider that maybe our inner state of unhappiness, that deep feeling of a void, of a lack of connection, is actually the factory that's manufacturing all of our external problems. So we aren't unhappy because of our problems. We have problems because deep down we are unhappy. And the story of the tailor from the Source just illustrates this perfectly. Here's a guy who was poor, but he was happy. Then, boom, he wins a massive lottery. Does all that money bring him peace? No way. It makes him sick with anxiety and paranoia. He can't sleep, he can't eat, he's just constantly worried. And it's only when he loses all the money and goes back to being a simple tailor that his health and his happiness come back. The money didn't solve a thing. It just poured gasoline on the fire of his inner misery. So, if fixing the outside world isn't the answer, then what is the path forward? Well, it lies in a kind of spiritual alchemy, in transforming our most basic, raw energy. The key here is to understand a concept called vasana, or desire. And the big idea is this. Desire isn't a sin. It's not something to be crushed or suppressed. It's just pure, neutral life energy. Think of it like raw fuel. The fuel itself isn't good or bad. Everything depends on what kind of engine you decide to put it in. And that energy can be directed. When you channel it outward into the material world, it becomes worldly ambition, that drive for money, power, status. But you can take that very same energy and with a conscious shift, turn it inward. When you do that, it's transformed. It becomes prayer. It becomes devotion. It's the same fuel, just powering a totally different vehicle. So you see, this whole path isn't about fighting yourself or killing your natural energy. It's not about elimination at all. It's about elevation. It's about taking the powerful current of your own desire and simply redirecting its flow away from the worldly and toward the divine. And this brings us full circle, right back to that paradox we started with. We asked if knowledge could be a burden. And maybe that's the ultimate lesson here. Maybe the real path to freedom isn't about adding more knowledge, more money, more accomplishments. Maybe it's about letting go, unburdening ourselves from the inside out, until we're finally light enough to truly understand.